I assume everyone is using Facebook, at least in some basic way, to reach their audience. So today, what we're going to do is look at some ways that we can kind of master what's happening within our Facebook page and make sure that you're doing everything you can to attract and grow that fan base on Facebook. So very few publishers are actually taking advantage of Facebook ads, which are a great way to get in front of people who don't even know your titles or your authors. This is a form of display advertising where you have the ad in the sidebar or it appears in the newsfeed, and you've probably noticed sponsored posts. These are paid posts. So we'll talk about how to set those up later on in the presentation. But just to establish the difference between these types of ads and, say, Google search ads. With Google search ads, people are still seeing the ad in that kind of right sidebar of search results or on web pages or blog pages. But basically they're matched up based on keywords that you're bidding on and keywords that are relevant or similar within that web page. And in my experience, you have to work a lot harder to make those types of ads as targeted as what you can do really easily within Facebook. So with Facebook, you're going to be able to reach people based on their interests and their demographics, but maybe who aren't thinking about, say, your latest YA title, Lives of Magic by Lucy Lederman, or the company's coming new gluten-free cookbook. But with Facebook, you absolutely can target people who are interested in YA books and have an interest in magic or Celtic warriors, or you can target people who like gluten-free recipes or are even talking about gluten-free cooking. So why are we on Facebook, right? What are publishers doing? The thing that immediately comes to mind when I look at publishers' pages is that you want to continue building the fan base. So you've got to get fans. You have to start, continually increasing the reach of fans that you have, because you build that audience and then people kind of disappear or they stop seeing your content. It's the same with email newsletters, where we want to be constantly building that fan base and making sure that it's credible people who, actually value the content, and they're not just liking our page because we've run a contest or we've done something flashy. The second thing is we have to make sure that those fans, people who say, yes, I want to see your stuff, are actually seeing our stuff, because that's how word of mouth spreads about our authors and titles. So these are all the things on Facebook. We need to get engagement on those posts. And then the third thing that's most important is we have to start treating Facebook like a sales funnel. So whether you're capturing dollars because you're directing people to your website and you're selling on your website, or maybe you're selling even within Facebook, that dollar attribution, or being able to attribute what's happening on Facebook to what happens in terms of revenue, is really important. And even if you're not doing e-commerce, then capturing data becomes the next best thing. Can you start gathering email addresses and using Facebook as part of that sales funnel so that you can actually own that relationship a bit more because you've captured an email address? So I have a bunch of examples that we'll look at, and then I'll open it up to questions at the end. But why Facebook? I mean, I personally hate Facebook, and I know that lots of publishers have greater affinity to Twitter, so they spend a lot of time on Twitter and, ignore the Facebook page a little bit. But Facebook's rather impressive when you start to look at it and really experiment. So the top reason, of course, is that you've got a core book buying audience who uses Facebook in particular. So if you're going to engage in this channel, it's good because you're fishing where the fish are. The second reason why Facebook is really important is that it's kind of become interesting in the last year. The new Facebook Insights, which is the analytics information for your page, is pretty amazing. The market research that you can do through graph search kind of blows my mind every now and then, so we'll talk about that. And the conversion rates that I'm seeing when I'm doing advertising within Facebook are better in terms of click-through rates and sales. It's more reasonably priced than other kinds of display advertising. So I mentioned Google ads, but also Twitter ads, YouTube ads, ads on other websites. All of that is sort of display advertising. The The third thing which most people don't know about is that with Facebook, you can upload your existing email list into Facebook and then create ads that are only going to be shown to people who are part of that list. So it's called a custom audience. And what's really neat about that is if you have a large email list, you can also do what's called the lookalike audience. So you can say, hey, Facebook, who's gathering reams of excellent data on people who are using Facebook, find me a lookalike audience, people who are similar in terms of demographic or their on Facebook behavior to my existing audience. And then let me put my ads in front of those people who don't know about my stuff but are similar to my audience. So they're probably going to be more likely to engage with my content. There's a small SEO benefit to participating on Facebook, having people sharing links to your website on Facebook. This is a form of social proof that is part of the ranking algorithm within Google, Yahoo, Bing. So there's some small SEO benefit to being active on Facebook as well. And then if you're advertising in terms of an ad platform, the Facebook ad platform is really scalable. So it's easy to create pretty effective ads that reach a target audience, and then you can duplicate whatever is successful. So leaving ads aside, the thing to know about Facebook is that not everything you post is seen by your fans. So if you have 1,000 fans, then only about 16% of them are going to see any given post, so 160, say. And that number is really low if you think about that. All that content you're posting, every single post is maybe going to reach 160 people. And that was the standard that we were looking at in the summer and the fall. But in December, Facebook adjusted the newsfeed algorithm again in order to reduce the reach that pages have. So most pages are seeing a drop to only 2 to 8% of their fan base are seeing any given post. So suddenly, if we're talking about only 20 to 80 people, if you have 1,000 fans, are seeing that content, and then we think about, well, what kind of engagement rate? If we have a really high engagement rate of 10%, it means 2 to 8 people are going to comment, like, post on any given post. So these numbers are really low. Why is that happening? Well, part of that is just poor timing. So companies tend to post on their Facebook page between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m., whatever their local time is. And the problem with that is that their fans, regular people who use Facebook, tend to be on Facebook from 4 to 9 a.m. and then 8 p.m. onwards. Why? Because from 9 to 6 a.m. they are at work, so they're not playing on Facebook. They're using Facebook in that commute to work or morning with breakfast, on the bus, after dinner. So instead of only posting in the hours that we're at work, we need to start thinking about when are our fans actually online, and do we need to start scheduling posts for when we're out of the office but our fans are actually online. The second problem is the newsfeed. EdgeRank is what we used to call that newsfeed algorithm. And basically, in the digital world, algorithms determine what we see in search results. So whether that's Google, Amazon, YouTube, you do a search on Facebook, whatever appears in your newsfeed, is this algorithm that is acting as a filter to what we see. If you want to put a positive spin on that, we can say it's the digital hand seller. But that newsfeed algorithm has more than 1,000 ranking factors. There's kind of 3 main influences, though: affinity, weight, and time. So what shows up for each individual person in their newsfeed is kind of dependent on these 3 main influences. So whether your page shows up is dependent on affinity. Does that fan have a relationship with your page? How much do they interact with it? So if they've just liked it once and they've never liked any content, they've never posted a comment, they've never shared anything, then this is really low affinity for your page. It's unlikely that your content is going to show up in their newsfeed. Weight is another influential factor. So this is determined by post type. So if people like photos, they're always commenting, clicking on photos, then the newsfeed algorithm is going to show them more content that's like that. If they are a person who really likes clicking on links, then they'll see more of that kind of content. So there's a certain weight that's given to these object types or post types that is a factor in that news algorithm and what people see. And then time. Time is the other one. So how recently did that person interact with your page? If it's been more than 7 days, more than 30 days, more than 60 days, the longer the time from that the last interaction, the less likely your content is to appear in their newsfeed. So that algorithm is basically determining what appears in the feed, and Facebook is artificially downgrading content from pages. They told us that in August. They had an announcement that they said the news feed is going to show more high-quality content. So what that means for pages is timely, relevant content from a trusted source that those fans are going to share or recommend or otherwise engage with, and that's not trying to game the news feed and is not hidden or flagged as spam. So gaming the newsfeed is the kind of post that you see usually around some type of meme, you know, like this, if you think bullying is terrible, right? You're just trying to game the newsfeed. You're trying to get people to like, comment, and share in order to artificially bump up your post. So Facebook is very good at recognizing those types of, that type of content and downgrading it. What they really want you to do is advertise, because that, of course, is how they make money. And they were even more blunt about that in December when they had an announcement where they admitted that organic reach is falling short, and they urged marketers to buy ads. So here's my poll question that I'm interested in. I think my poll is now closed, but I'm kind of curious. Think to yourself here. You know, have you tried Facebook advertising? Maybe you can post in the little chat or question. You know, have you set up ads before, or have you had someone else set up ads? Have you not tried it at all? I'd just like to gauge, you know, what examples I should use in the next little bit. And I'm sorry, my poll, because I tested it earlier, is now closed. All right, so I've got a couple answers here coming in. Yeah, it looks like most people haven't used it. A couple people have tried. Excellent. All right. So I'm just going to take a sip of water and then tailor what we'll talk about next. So since most people haven't tried it, what we'll do here is you basically need to create an advertising account. So facebook.com/advertising, and you're going to provide your billing information, credit card details. Make sure you set your currency as Canadian if that's how you want to be charged instead of in US dollars. And rest assured you are not charged until your ads start running. Even if you don't intend to advertise on Facebook, having an advertising account is really handy because it allows you to go through the process of setting up an ad, which provides you with a ton of customer research. So you can set up ads that look at your existing fan base, and you can start figuring out, well, how many of them are within this demographic? How many of them are within this location? What kind of interests do they have? So if I'm sort of a general trade publisher, what percentage of my audience is interested in gardening versus cooking versus biography? So we can use that ad setup tool in order to get a better handle on what our existing audience likes. And we can also look at just overall Facebook, what's the size of that market for these types of interests or categories. So it's super handy to have even if you don't intend to advertise. One thing to note is that you can advertise a page but not a personal profile or a group. So if people join your group or they friend your personal profile, then this is not a page. You can't create advertising for it. You don't get insights, which we're going to have a closer look at on Thursday for those of you joining us. You can migrate a profile to a page. So this is a question I frequently get asked by authors. So if you're taking notes and thinking about this in terms of what you can do to help your authors, if they want to convert their profile, personal profile, into a page, there's a tool that will do that. And it's that migrate link that I've included in the slide. And it's going to move your friends into likes, but it doesn't move any of the content. So often for authors, it's better to just start over, create a page, which is your author fan page, and then you just keep your personal profile for personal things. If you're a publisher and you've set up a group and it's an active group, then you may in fact just want to stay the course and see what happens with pages over the next 6 months. You don't, as a group, have access to insights. You can't advertise. You can't access a lot of information about the group. But if you're curious about it, you can set up a page that you don't actively promote, and then you create your advertising campaign related to that page. And you can create ads that are, links to the group, or you can use it, just for that research kind of stage. But again, you just want to be aware whether you have a page or personal profile or a group. So I don't want this to be all about advertising. Let's talk about zero-cost options. Absolutely, you have to write valuable, compelling content. You can ask for the like. So even though there's this announcement last August that Facebook is going to downgrade that kind of content, the point is really just make sure you're not doing it all the time. You can mix it up. Try some of those low-hanging fruit status updates, things like, blah, 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 share this to your timeline, or what do you think about X? So you're just trying to bump up your engagement by phrasing your post in a way that nudge people towards liking the post or actually commenting on it or sharing it. The second thing is run some experiments. So we're going to look at the Insights tab for what kind of content resonates with your audience and what when your fans are online. But when it comes to the content, try to change it up a bit. If you always post link updates, so your status update has a link in it, or you always post photos, try to mix it up so you can get an idea of what type of content actually resonates with your audience. You get more engagement or more reach with a particular type. Try loading multiple images instead of single images. Experiment with the length of your post. So for example, on the Boxcar marketing page, for my audience, a post that is 80 characters or fewer actually has more engagement than a longer post. But for some of my clients, that's the reverse. Longer posts tend to get more engagement. So you want to see what works for your particular audience, because what works for one page that might be very similar to you in terms of content, number of fans, your particular audience might react very differently with your content. The third thing is that you really want to post when fans are online so that you're maximizing that opportunity to appear in the newsfeed. So we'll look at insights now with what kind of content resonates and when people are online. And just as a reminder, on Thursday, we're going to look more in depth at insights. We'll only have time to look at 2 of the tabs today. We'll spend some time on Thursday looking at the graph search. I've got a really cool tool that I use with Twitter to kind of suck data from Twitter and then to use that for outreach or just basic tracking. And I want to show you some shortcuts in Google Analytics so I can make your life a little bit easier. You can more easily track what's working or not working. And as always, I've got lots of templates and tools for today that I'll share with you and also on Thursday. And if you haven't signed up for Thursday and you're interested in that, eBound is going to extend the package price to you. So that's $80 for non-members or $60 for members, which means you can kind of upgrade for pretty low $20 or $30. So let's move on and look at our Insights tab. If you have a page, then you'll see this See Insights button. So we've got our general overview screen, which I find fairly useless. It's the Post tab and the People tab that are most interesting. The Post tab is the one that's going to show you when your fans are online. You have to know it's only 7 days worth of data, so you want to have a little look at this weekly, maybe for a month, just check. Does it fluctuate that much, you know, or is a 7-day period kind of consistent with what's happening week over week? What you can see here is that you kind of generally have the same kind of reach for your fans day over day, and then you get this sort of timeline at the bottom. So I've got a business audience, so it's kind of B2B instead of B2C, business to consumer. And what I can see in this grid is I probably want to think about scheduling my Facebook updates to go maybe at 9 a.m. my time, 11 a.m., and then maybe again at 3. So I want to post at least twice a day, and I want to hit that kind of, you know, wherever the spikes are, the most number of people who are going to see my posts. But I can see here that, you know, I've still got quite a large amount of my audience that is online all the way up until 9, 10 o'clock at night. It might make more sense for me to repost some of my content later in the evening, or schedule some posts that are those longer reads where I can actually capture people's attention because they're not busy with things at work. So I want to think about, you know, what are the spikes in terms of my traffic? The cool thing about this page is you also have this hover section. So when you move over each day, you can see what those times look like. And there's absolutely a difference for most people in terms of when their audience is online during the weekend or particular days of the week. So my Thursdays, you know, it might be more important for me to schedule at 7 a.m. and 11 and then 3 p.m. Whereas, you know, Tuesday is a very different day. I've got to schedule things that are maybe later in the day at 3 p.m. and again at 8 p.m. So you want to think about, instead of scheduling at the same time every day, or, you know, often we have our routine. We come into the office, we check these things, we, you know, do our Facebook post, we come back later. We've got this kind of regularity to what we do. You want to change it up. And this particular tab is what's going to help you figure out what days and what times during those days. There's another sneaky little tab here, post type. This is going to show you what types of posts you're using most often. So does your post include a link? Are you uploading a photo? Is it a straight status update? Or you do something else like an offer or an event RSP? All of that will show up in this type screen. And you can see here for me that I get way more reach when it's a link post, but more engagement if it's these different kinds of posts. So I want to make a concentrated effort in running a bit of an experiment over the next couple of months to say, if I even out the types of posts that I'm you know, putting into Facebook on my page, what does that actually look like? Where do I get the most engagement? The people tab is the next one, and again, you can segment this into people who you've reached, people who've actually engaged. If you're a place, so if you're a bookseller, for example, and people can check into your location, you can segment this based on this type of behavior. But this screen is handy if you are going to advertise, because it gives you an idea of, you know, where's the majority of my audience. Again, I've got a business audience, so I've got sort of those managers and decision makers in this, you know, demographic, and I have these cities. If I'm an author and I have a page and I'm looking at this information, it's really helpful if I want to go on tour. It's helpful to you as a publisher to get an idea of which cities, if I'm going to do co-op or other kind of marketing efforts, what sort of age ranges are we looking at. So if we're a press and we're doing YA titles, for example, then we can start to figure out a little bit more about our audience from these tabs. So again, we're going to cover a few more of these screens on Thursday, but those are the two that are most important. And I want to soften the edge before we talk about spending money. So here's a cute photo of a kitten. Advertising. Right, so if you're going to spend time in this channel building an audience, then it really is worthwhile to get in front of that audience. And advertising is the cost of doing business on Facebook these days. So that doesn't mean that you have to do it blindly. You certainly want to have a goal in mind, and you want to figure out how are you going to measure success. So what does success look like? It's certainly not just counting the number of page likes you have, because as I mentioned, someone can like your page but then never see your content. So just measuring how many likes you have on your page doesn't really matter. Instead of measuring the likes, you want to measure outcomes. So can you spend money to get more engagement? So more likes, more comments, more shares. Can you spend money to get more page likes? Because you do, in fact, want to be constantly building your audience with new people who are going to value that information. And can you, spend money to make money? There are things in Facebook that you can do to start better attributing what happens in Facebook to what happens on your website. So in Google Analytics, for example, you can see what kind of traffic comes to your site from Facebook. This is referral traffic from Facebook. You can use a tool called the Google URL Builder that provides a nice little online form where you can tag that URL. So if you're sharing content on your own site, what I would say is just search for Google URL Builder. And then you're going to give it a source. The source is Facebook, and then say some type of label or thing that's going to help you know within your Google Analytics, hey, this is traffic that I sent from Facebook, instead of this is traffic other people are sending to me from Facebook. So if you're going to share content, you want to tag it so you can properly see some attribution within Google Analytics, so you have a better idea of what kind of traffic is coming from analytics. And then if you're going to run any type of ads, I'll show you this in a couple of slides. There's a conversion pixel that you can put on your website that really helps you understand, okay, I sent traffic to my website. Did they actually buy? Did they actually sign up to my email newsletter? Did they register for an event or take some other type of action that's important to me as a conversion? So I've got a couple ideas about how we, get more engagement, get more likes, and get more sales. The first is something that I recommend that everyone does. So publishers and especially authors. You need about $50 a month. You need to set up that advertising account. You want to have some type of editorial calendar. So you've got regular, good, compelling content that you're going to post on your page at least twice a day. And then you're going to spend $1 a day to ensure that more of your existing fans see that content. So you're basically going to advertise to your own fans. And then you're going to spend $20, that extra kind of 20, to push or promote any post that you think deserves a broader audience. So that might be, reach more of my existing fans, or reach non-fans who are going to have an interest in this post. So I'll walk you through what that setup is, because the Facebook Ad Manager can be a bit confusing to people. So you're going to go to, I don't know why I have a million slides that are all the same here, but you're going to go to Ads Manager. So it's facebook.com/ads/manage. And what we want to do here is set up an ad that is going to promote our page content, so posts that we make, to our existing fans, and we only want to spend $1 a day. I can save you the trouble. I've run some experiments to see what is the lowest amount of money I can spend to get the biggest bang for my buck. $1 a day is what we want to do there. So what we want is a page post engagement. Each of these things all kind of give you the same screens for the setup, but what you're trying to do is say, hey Facebook, with your crazy data, use that data to help my ad perform better. So if I want to get more engagement, I want to get more likes, comments, and shares on a post within Facebook, I want to pick this page post engagement. If I want to get more likes for my page, I'm going to pick this one so that the algorithm, when it's running my ad, is going to find more people who are, have the propensity to like pages. If it's clicks to my website, it's going to help me find more people who are likely to click on links that take them away from Facebook. And then the conversions one is related to that conversion pixel I talked about, where it's going to find people who are more likely to buy or sign up for my email or do whatever action is important to me. So we're going to do this $1 a day ad to our fans. Say, show my post continuously. So this is one of those efficiencies I was talking about. I don't have to set up an ad for every single post. I can say, Facebook, go do that for me. And Facebook does so little for you anyway, right? It's incredibly frustrating. I feel like a little mouse running through a maze that changes every day. So this is something that makes me happy within Facebook. There's very few things that make me happy with Facebook. So we're going to say, hey, show this continuously. We're going to get rid of sponsored stories. So sponsored stories is basically anytime my fans like, comment, or share something on the post, it's going to show them to their friends. I don't want to do that. I just want to get my content in front of my existing fans. I don't want to annoy people who have no idea who I am or why I'm suddenly showing up in their feed. Just want to show it to my fans. And what I want to do here with my connections is say, show this only to people connected to 40 Night Shelf. So show them only to my fans. So 40 Night Shelf, in case you don't know, is this great kind of virtual library of all Canadian authored titles. So that audience research section, what I can do here is if you watch this number, say I'm going to reach 3,800 people. Well, I don't really want the 13-year-olds. I probably want kind of 25 to 65. So as I change any of the information here, I can see how that's going to change the reach. This is a really quick, easy way to figure out, well, how many fans do I have that are Canadian, that are in the US, that are a particular age range, or speak a particular language if I'm doing bilingual publishing, or have interest in a particular area. This is where I can do all that research. But what I'm doing here is I just want to spend $1 a day to reach my existing fans. I'm going to target this a little bit by saying, only the best of, the people who are kind of in that range who are not the teenagers, basically. And then what I want to do is change the name of my campaign, because as you start building these campaigns, you want to have a naming convention because it gets confusing really quickly. So I always use whatever the outcome is. So in this case, I want to get more engagement, so I'm going to call it get engagement, and I'm targeting my fans. I put fans in brackets. And I want to spend $1 a day. I'm going to run this continuously, and then here's that bidding section. I'm going to let Facebook do its magic. I bid based on post engagement, show my stuff to people who are more likely to engage, and I'm going to place my order. That extra $20 that I talked about, this is where you can boost a post, but the problem is you don't want to go and click on this take my money button. This promote page, boost post, don't click there. You always want to go to your ads.manage and use the ad interface, and I'll tell you why in a second, but let me just show you how to set this up. You've got that $20 extra that you want to use for your push, so you're only spending $50 a month maximum on this kind of idea. Instead of showing it continuously, you're just going to pick that one post that you think deserves a bit more attention. So maybe I'm just going to pick this science fiction one as an example. And what I'm going to do down here is say, you know what, show it only to people who are not connected to 40 Night Shelf. So I'm already doing this $1 a day to kind of ensure that more of my existing fans are seeing my content. In this particular case, I think it's a post that people who aren't connected to 40 Night Shelf should really know about. And because it is science fiction, I want to say, don't just blindly show this to people. Show this post to them based on interest. So show it to people who are interested in science fiction. And I can select here. It's going to give me some options. Science fiction movies, people who like science fiction film. Maybe I want to target fandom. I can, I use this basically as my initial browse. But if I have a look at the article, you know what, let me think about other Canadian authors, right? Maybe I'm promoting a particular book. So, hey, if this is about science fiction, promote it to people who are interested in Ray Bradbury or Ray Bradbury theater. Show it to people who are interested in Margaret Atwood. Maybe they're fans of The Handmaid's Tale or Oryx and Crake. Any author that I put in there, I'm going to start getting this list of other suggestions that help me understand which, if I've done a good job with my TI sheets and I figured out my comparable authors or titles, I'm looking for those people who have an existing presence on Facebook so I can say, put my content in front of people who like these similar things. Robert J. Sawyer, Cory Doctorow. I'm going to start adding these people to that kind of interest. So I'm looking for the potential reach. I don't want to have an ad that's going to over 100,000 people. So you want to keep it kind of small. I might stop here and say, okay, so we're going to show my science fiction post to people who like science fiction, in particular who like these authors, because that's going to suggest to me that they like science fiction and they read. They don't just watch films and television or go to science fiction conferences. And again, I can target this if I have a US audience or I have a UK audience. I can do that. Maybe I only want to reach fans in a particular city. So I'm running an event in Toronto. I'm promoting a particular children's author. I want to find, the mommies who are interested in Toppy and Banu and maybe Franklin Turtle. Right? I can start matching up the interests based on suggestions that Facebook is going to provide for me. And then I can start figuring out, a bit of that research about who I'm actually targeting. And then, of course, you want to update your campaign name. In this case, it's going to non-fans, so I change that up. And instead of having a daily budget, I can set a lifetime budget. So I only want to spend $20. Isn't that cheeky how it just changes it to $350. So lifetime budget, I want to spend only $20. I don't recommend spending for this type of promotion less than $5 a day. So if you've got $20 to spend, run it for 2 days or 4 days max, and you can change the end time. So again, if you're promoting a particular contest that has a close date or an event, changing that end time can become important, not just the date. And then this is where, if you're doing this because you want to get engagement on a particular post, then you could keep that the same. But if you're really trying to send people away from Facebook, so to register for an event on your website or to look at a book detail page on your website, then you want to change this to bid for clicks so that it's going to optimize who the ads are shown to based on people who are more likely to click on those links. So again, you don't want to click on these boost post links because it really is the please take my money button. The audience is less refined. So I don't want to show this to people who like my page and their friends, because if you think about how people use Facebook, I'm friends with my kids' soccer team or people in my book club or people who I went to high school with. It's not targeted enough in terms of interest. Even if I change this to the targeting, it's still not as specific enough as I would like it to be. I can set some interest, but I can't sort of say only show it to my fans or only show it to non-fans, and I can't really change the date options, the time. I've just got these sort of generic settings that I can use. So when should we post or stir a post? Jay Bear has this nice acronym about what kind of factors are going to help you understand when to promote a post. And basically, you're trying to amplify what you're already doing. So second idea to get more page likes, and I'm going to skip through this quickly so I can open it up to questions. Anywhere from $0 to $500, you basically want to test out some things like you could spend it on page-like ads, do some A/B testing to figure out, which cover image or spot image resonates best, what kind of headline, what kind of text, and then use that information for your other offline advertising or marketing efforts. You can gate a piece of content. So maybe you've got a free ebook or a fiction sampler. You could create a tab on your Facebook page that gates that content. So people have to like the page in order to access it. Or if you're running a contest, do the same thing. Make people like the page in order to see the contest material. So there's a bunch of third-party apps that I've included as links at the end that will help you create those tabs. But the point when you're building up page likes is it's not so much about just the number. You're trying to build up a relevant fan base so that you can sell them stuff later. So always think about credible building of that audience, not just running contests for the sake of running a contest. And there's a ton of free options too. Most people, if you have that little, follow us on Facebook widget on your website, there's a way to change the code so that the same way we pull in our Twitter feed, we can pull in the things that we're linking to on Facebook. And that's helpful because people can like your page right on your website, and they can also see what kind of content you're posting so they can engage with it more easily. You can post your top performing content in a blog post. So for example, if you have a look at which types of content are resonating with your audience the best, then create some blog posts, expand on those topics, and then embed the post to your update. And that's, again, it's a way to drive people to your Facebook page to help them with discoverability. And that's under a little drop down that says embed post. And then the other option is you could, share this content on other networks. We often send people to our website, but we could just as easily send them to a particular Facebook post or image. So you get the permalink by clicking on the time date stamp underneath whatever the post is, and that's going to give you the permalink, the link that's going to help people go directly to that post. So our last idea is basically the sales. Yes, money, right? Show me the money. You have to use some of the cheesy functions, right? So if you have e-commerce, then you need to use the tracking pixel. And basically what you do in ads/manage, you're looking in the right-hand column for the link to conversion tracking. You're going to click that green button in the top right that says Create Conversion Pixel. Tell Facebook what kind of conversion it is. Is it a checkout? Is it a register? Is it some sort of lead, like they're going into your CRM system? Are they adding it to a cart? What is it? And it's going to give you a piece of code that you put onto all of your, to the thank you page related to that conversion. That way when you're running your ad, instead of saying, hey, optimize for engagement or optimize for likes, you're going to say, optimize for conversion, people who are likely to convert. So to summarize sort of what I see with publishers, most people, you've got like 1,000 fans or 2,500 to 5,000, or you're kind of 10,000 and above. We've got some distinct ranges in terms of the number of fans. But these changes to edge rank are artificially reducing the kind of reach that you get, which then has an impact on the kind of engagement that you get. And the lower your engagement, then the less likely your content is to show up in the newsfeed. So we've got this chicken and egg problem that basically can be solved by figuring out how do we get more engagement on our content. So if you think about what it takes to succeed on Facebook, to get real value from it, you have to be accomplishing 3 things. You have to have reach. And you get reach by getting more high-quality fans, and then getting those fans and their friends to share your stuff. So if you've got low reach, you've got low potential value in terms of how, what value Facebook's going to bring to your business. Engagement is the second point, but actually the most important. If people are not engaging with your content, they're not liking, commenting, or sharing, then your page is going to fail. The edge rank out and that newsfeed algorithm is even less forgiving now than it was before. So you have to figure out how are you going to mix things up, post when your fans are online, really figure out that component. And then sales. I'd love to say, sales and have everyone selling off their site, but that's not the case for some publishers, right? You're not doing e-commerce. So at least think about this as data capture. You want to be collecting email signups. You want to be collecting emails if you're running a contest. You want to create a custom audience based on those email lists. You want to use graph search to try and understand what your fans are interested in or care about, or use that kind of advertising research that you can do as you set up the ads. And these 3 things are always interconnected, right? I want to get more sales. In order to get more sales, I need to have more engagement and more reach. So you have to start finding the great, book memes and kind of some of that fluff that helps people engage with your content or do that, comment, like, and share. You're just nudging them forward. For some terrible reason, images, that have this kind of meme text catch people's attention, and they like, they comment, they share. You can use a tool like the Page Analyzer tool. It's going to give you some idea of what type of content on your page resonates with your fans, where your best opportunities are. Start posting more of that stuff. And before you say, yes, Monique, but it's all fluff and it doesn't help sell books, let me just say this. Successful pages on Facebook do a good job of balancing the cheese and the broccoli. So, of course, you don't want it to all be cheap memes and stupid photos, but a page with nothing but on-message self-promotional posts is going to fail over time. So you have to try and find the mix that's going to work for you. And you absolutely have to start advertising, even if it's that $1 a day. It's a pretty small budget in order to get your stuff in front of your fans. And then start thinking about the page. Start thinking about how you can capture information if you're not selling, right? So putting that email sign up right in Facebook so you're not asking people to leave. So this is the link where I've posted a ton of resources, including things like third-party apps that you can use. There are some 1-minute video tips and other help stuff. And if you found this webinar helpful, I'm going to post about it later today on Facebook and then LinkedIn. So please consider liking, commenting, or sharing on it. And I'd like to open it up for questions.
All right, we'll get started with questions. So the first one is, do you have any recommendations on when you might want to boost a post, or how to choose which posts to boost?
Yes, absolutely. So let's just have a quick look back at this STIR acronym. You want to find a post that's going to be relevant at least 2 to 4 days after you posted it. Don't promote post immediately after you post it. You want to let Google's or Facebook's algorithm sort of start churning away and understanding what's happening with it organically first. So you want to give it some time lag. I usually say about 4 hours since you posted it, but 4 to 6 hours since you posted is the better time to promote it than waiting too long or clicking promote too soon. Posts that have some type of impact that you can measure are better than just sort of general status updates. So if they have a link or a call to action, you're asking people to sign up or to buy something or to register for something, those posts are typically better. And then looking at how the post is doing organically before you promote it. is also good. So you want to have some organic likes and comments and shares on the post in advance. In the case of 49 Shelf, they're posting 5 times a day, and when we're doing that $1 a day kind of reach, each post is reaching anywhere from 300 to 700 people that would have otherwise not seen that. And then when we do the little like $20 or $30 promote posts, you know, over the course of a month, it's like 9,000 to 10,000 views of those posts that they otherwise would not have been seen by fans and non-fans. So I do recommend kind of promoting the post. Remember, don't click that take my money button, the boost post. You want to go to add/manage in order to do that. But this little STIR acronym is a handy tip for what type of content is going to work best.
The next question is, you mentioned adding your email contacts to Facebook. How does this work?
So what you do is use the Power Editor. So you go to add/manage, and there's a little link in the side for Power Editor. I've already kind of loaded this up. You're going to download. Make sure you click download first, because this is going to download all the ad campaigns that you're running. And then when you've made your changes, you need to click upload. Otherwise, these things become out of sync really easily. I had this loaded because I wanted to show at the bottom, this is where you say, hey, track the conversions, and you pick which conversion pixel it is, form of that general ads manager. And you have a section called audiences. And what you can do is click create audience. You want to pick custom audience. And then you're going to say, you know, what kind of data file it is. So if you're using MailChimp, they have a nice integration with Facebook. You're going to export your list from MailChimp, click this option. If you have another tool that you're using, you basically create a spreadsheet that is on each line just the email address, and you're going to click data file. It'll prompt you to select that from your computer, upload it, give it a name, and as soon as you have that audience created, then when you're going through to create the ad, you're gonna select audience. So it's at the top here, audience. I'm going to choose an existing audience, and if I've uploaded it, I just pick that audience. So when I'm creating my ad, I'm going to say, hey, target people who are Boxcar Marketing Underwire subscribers, and then I'm going to, you know, set my interests or make any changes that I want, or totally open it up. Fewer than 1,000 people are on my mailing list, and like these 3 authors is what's happening there. Sorry, that's just being rolled out, that allows you to do retargeting. So you can put a pixel on your website that says, hey, if someone comes to my website or looks at a particular book detail page and they're on Facebook, then show them this ad for this particular book or for my press in general. So that's just new as of last week. It's being rolled out to users. It's called a custom, or website custom audience. And these ones where you use a mailing list is called custom audience.
Interesting. The next question is, are you going to go over how to create a lookalike customer list in the next webinar?
I wasn't going to, but it's essentially the same as creating a custom audience. So what happens once you've created that audience, so you've uploaded your existing list, then you can say, I want to create a custom audience, and where is my lookalike audience here? I love when Facebook changes things. So what I'll do is I'll talk about it on Thursday, how we create a lookalike audience, and for those not joining us, I'll include a link on that resources page that I showed, because basically all you're doing is creating your custom audience, you're uploading that, and then you're saying, hey, Facebook, create a lookalike audience based on this custom audience. So I'll find where they've hidden that tab now.
The next question is, in terms of balancing cheese and broccoli, as you were talking about, this publisher finds that their fans aren't as keen on broccoli. Any suggestions?
They're not keen on the broccoli. Sometimes it's finding, I'd say try to think like a magazine. So magazines tend to have regular features, or they've got some long-form content, some short-form content. So I would try to think about how can I promote my titles more in a cheesy fashion, but still get the guts out. So if I'm thinking about 10 books for your gardening fan, if I'm thinking about Christmas lists, then I can include links to other people's content, but then also include, a bit more of mine, or put a couple of my lists on. I look for things like, the 15 Canadian women authors that people should know about, and compile that kind of list. Canadians seem to like lists, so lists are kind of handy. I'll think about my content, and I'll look at, how is similar content portrayed on shows like Stephen and Chris, or, if it was going to be on Oprah, what would they talk about? What kind of visuals? What sort of behind-the-scenes images? If it's a particular author, what does their desk look like? So you can still be kind of cheesy, but also promoting or pushing your stuff, and just include those links to where you find more of the serious stuff on your book detail page, or maybe you've really spruced up an Amazon page or an Indigo page, or the author has a really great website. So you're trying to find the fun elements rather than just the straight broccoli. It's broccoli with cheese on top.
Sounds delicious. The next question is that this publisher seems to be getting fake likes on their Facebook page, and they're wondering if there's any way to prevent this. So like bots or false profiles.
Yes, yeah. I haven't encountered that, but I've seen people posting online about it. So I'll do some research and post a link about that on that resources page. I think within your page, there's actually a way with if those sort of fake people become actual spammers and they're posting on your wall, there's ways to dial up or down what people are saying, or what kind of access they can have. But I haven't had to deal with this, so I'm sorry that's happening to you. And I'll see what the best practice is there.
That sounds great. I think we have time for one more question. This question is that this person's interested in learning about graph search, but you said that won't be covered until Thursday. Do you have any other resources regarding graph search?
Yeah, I have a 1-minute video about it, how to use it, so I'll make sure that's on that resources page. And this is graph search, so you can basically, I was playing around with it this morning, you're just kind of typing into the Facebook search, show me people who like books, for example, from maybe I want to see who in Toronto. And then I can kind of scroll through this list and get an idea of, are they male, or are they female, how old are they, what other stuff do they like, so I can get a quick little rundown. Maybe I want to see pages. Pages, if I could just type, pages liked by people who like books, who are also from Toronto, or top interests or top favorite pages. So I can start to really understand, here are these people who like books or reading, who happen to live in Toronto. What else do they like? Well, they tend to like vintage stuff. It seems to be some pharmaceuticals and some caffeine, a bit of sports, very fan of your government, I guess, beer drinking, bit of makeup, some poor lunch choices, movies, travel, cooking, writing. And then I can kind of start taking stuff like this and say, okay, maybe I'm a particular press. I want to see pages liked by people who like, maybe say, Annick Press. I can see what pages are liked by people who like that press. If I'm doing a comp search, maybe I want to see people who are like their pages and say work of book publishers. So I'm going to use the suggestions through the graph search in order to basically do some research to figure out what kinds of things are people interested in. And then I can take that information and build it into those interest settings or category settings when I'm setting up ads.